So my first essential is the man upstairs, God himself, the GOAT, man. Never grew up in church, but me and my assistant was having a debate on God, and she was basically telling me that, like, if you allow him, you know what I'm saying, into your heart, into your life, he'll answer all your prayers. Until I let that man into my life, it was terrible. I had a terrible life. But once I did, everything changed, and that's how I got here. So my first essential is the man upstairs, God himself, the GOAT, man.
You see, this is what happens when certain terms take on a life of its own to the point where you associate it with things that it shouldn't be associated with, on the outset. But when it comes to that world, they already know what they associate the GOAT with. It's just that to the average listener, they trying to make it palatable for you to accept it and get down with it. Just when it comes to what it really is about. You see, because he said, the man upstairs, God, the GOAT, right? Now, the average person may hear that and say, oh yeah, he talking about God. He's saying God is the greatest of all time. Yeah, God is that person, is that entity, that's that spirit, whatever. But to him, he's talking about Pan. He's talking about the GOAT God, the Baphomet. That's what he is talking about. That's what he's talking about. And even with that, that's still in a way blatant, It's surreptitious, but it's still blatant. And notice he talked about how a woman put him on to the understanding of God. And it kind of reminds me of Adam and Eve. We already understand what took place in regards to the garden. Adam knew what it was, but he still was beguiled, or more so not beguiled, but mesmerized to the point where he loved her more than he loved the Most High, and he fell. And he pretty much, was impressed by the teachings, and he got down with it. This is why Adam, he's also known as Saturn, because he would be known as a quote-unquote god, an idol, venerated in the left-hand annals of Luciferianism, you know, contrary to what certain people may understand. Adam was not a righteous man. He fell. Now, this is important because it coincides with the understanding. Now, obviously, we're in Genesis chapter 3, starting at verse 1, where it says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Now, we already understand, or most of you understand, that the trees is talking about people teaching. That's what it is metaphoric for. It's parabolic, it's metaphoric. The trees is talking about people teaching left-hand knowledge. That's what it's about. The fruit is the left-hand knowledge. The eating of the fruit represents consuming knowledge. That's what it represents, And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, meaning we may learn these things, right? But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High have said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So this goes into you consuming knowledge that's left hand to the point where you can be destructive because of the teachings. You being elucidated by something that's contrary to the righteous aspect, right? But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. So that's the serpent being cunning and sly and deceptive. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. Meaning you should be a person that understands things, but it's going to be a left-hand understanding where you establish right and wrong. And that's things that's contrary to what the Most High laid as far as the foundation. And ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. That's what that means. Like, knowing good and evil references you should establish right and wrong. And that's what they do in this society, right? They establish their own rules as opposed to what the rules are of the Most High. And it kind of reminds me of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. If you listen to that album, the second half of that album, which is the Mr. Morale half, it represents Kendrick establishing right and wrong in his own eyes. That's why you got the song Auntie Diaries, so on and so forth. Right, so that's what they do in this society. They establish their own rules, their own mores. So when it comes to verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So she taught Adam. She taught Adam the teachings in which Satan taught her, or the serpent, Satan, same thing, taught her. She relayed those teachings to Adam. Adam fell because of that, because he listened to her. You know, he was elucidated, he upheld it, even though he understood that the teachings that came from the Most High was the one that he was supposed to lean on. It's just that she had power over him, and that's why he fell, and that's what happened. And the reason why I wanted to go into this is because it just reminded me of that from the beginning of the video, where the YouTube star, whatever his name is, Dennis or whatever, he mentions this, kind of mentions it in a way where the woman put him on to God. And you know, this is what it reminds me of, because the woman is not who you should be learning from when it comes to anything that's associated with the Bible. It's just not. No disrespect to her, but you know, her place is not to be teaching when it comes to the scriptures, and that's scriptural, that's of the Most High. But not really touching on the woman too much. It's really just about the understanding.